Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to our session tonight. This is our Boy Mom Anthology, our second night of interviews here on Facebook Live. We are grateful to you for joining us now, and for those of you who will view us in the very near future. Tonight, we're going to be talking to two of our contributors, two of our boy moms, and we have some interesting topics for you. So I will ask them to introduce themselves in just a few minutes. And we're also going to talk to you about our launch that will be coming November 28th, an event that you do not want to miss. And I am going to also shout out our sponsors. So first of all, I am Sonia Cunningham Leverett. I am the owner and operator of Hadassah's Crown. We are up to 50 published books on our shelf, so we are celebrating. We're very happy about that. And we ask that you follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And so I'm very privileged to partner on this big project with Angela Wright, who is the CEO for Building Beyond the Walls. And so I'd like to ask her if she will tell you more about herself and her organization.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Wright, and as Sonia said, I am the founder and executive director for Building Beyond the Walls. We are a nonprofit organization. Our goal is to mentor, provide motivation, and mindset moments, growth mindset for young men and young women in 3rd through 9th grade. And we do that by engaging them with STEAM activities, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So that's just a little bit about who we are.
Awesome. Thank you. And Miss Latressa A. Crawford.
Good evening, everyone. And as Dr. Sonia Leverett said, I am Latressa A. Crawford. I am founder and CEO of Latressa A. Crawford Enterprises, where I am author, life coach, educator, and speaker. I do executive coaching, where I also focus on stress management, goal attainment. I have a book out that's called Finding Joy in Everyday Life. I'm also a crafter. You can find me on Sensational Gyra / Created Dope. And I am excited to be here today.
Awesome. Well, just to tell you, our listeners, again, we appreciate you about this special project. It is an anthology that we are publishing. It is entitled, Oh, How We Love Our Sons. And it's subtitled, Inspiring Our Sons as Well as Yours. So we are partnering with Angela Wright and Building Beyond the Walls because, as you heard, her organization specializes in developing young men, and proceeds from each sale will benefit this organization. So you're going to be inspired. Those that you purchase the book for or share the book with will be inspired. And then we're doing something to lift this awesome nonprofit that is lifting our people, our young people, starting with the young men now and later the young ladies. So we appreciate your support in advance. These are going to be great stocking stuffers, great books for not just women. These are books for men, these are books for anybody in the family. So you need gifts for church members, you need books for your neighbors, whomever. It's going to be a great read, and it's on sale right now for $14.95. You can cash out any of our authors. You can also go to Hadassah's Crown Publishing.com or buildingbeyondthewalls.com. All right, so we want to go ahead and thank, though, our sponsors for our launch. Our launch is going to be on November 28th, right here on Facebook Live at 10 o'clock. And right now, Tam Unique Decor and More is one of our sponsors. We also have Enlarging My Territory Jewelry. We also have Letitia Mechanic, who's the owner of Enlarging My Territory. Divine and God Ministries is donating some books, as well as Soul Lift is completing a basket for us. And we're also going to have some jewelry by Sensational Gyra, as well as a book by Latressa A. Crawford. So there are going to be more, but I wanted to shout out our sponsors at this time right now. So it's just going to be a day of fun and a celebration. You can see all 14 contributors. And I'll talk later about how much we have in common. I was just sharing because today is my 31st Deltaversary. And what's so special now, Angela and Latressa, they're younger than me. They're not my line sisters, but they're my sorors as well. So there are
Yes.
6 sorors who are contributors in the book. Most of us are educators, but we do have a retired Air Force major. We
Mhm.
have a pastoral care and counseling minister. We have a cosmetologist with over 30 years of experience. And then we have a nonprofit CEO, and many of us have our own businesses. So it's a diverse group of ladies. And we'll talk about, too, how diverse we are as mothers. But tonight's topic, we're going to start with how do we raise or rear, if you will, smart young men who take pride in their academics and they're not so very concerned about the social part of it. If I'm not popular and cool because I'm smart, that's okay. I'm not going to sacrifice doing well. So, Angela, will you get us started tonight with that?
I will. I will start by saying this. I have been an educator much longer than I've been a parent, and that's saying a lot. So I will say that it's been a very slippery slope. But it for us, I'm the mother of 2 boys, Alan, who is 11, and William, who will soon be 14. Yay, William!
Well,
But
yeah.
for us, it started with front loading. It was extremely important that I poured into them positivity, making sure that I told them, who the great men that they were destined to be, that I, put nothing but positive images and role models. You know, they come with how should I say it? A group of uncles, honorary uncles. My husband's a member of Omega Psi Phi, so they come with a wealth of people who provide, excellent resources and modeling for them. And I'm from a huge family, so we weren't without our own set of people to see, but it's just extremely important that they, before I let them out into the world, knew the expectations, the call on their life, um, just who they were as young men before getting out there, because the world's going to tell them something different, especially in the classrooms, depending on the classroom teacher. And I know that that's a later discussion, but, we want to make sure we're the first and the most important voice that our sons hear, but we've got to be honest. They look up to their teachers. And sometimes the teachers aren't necessarily on the same level that we're on, and they may not see them in the same way that we do. So it's important that when they leave us, they know exactly who they are, how strong they are, how smart they are. So that's first and foremost. It's extremely important that we make sure that's in place.
You're exactly right. And continuing to reiterate, because I'll share personal experience quickly and then I'll get to Latressa. But I remember my son was in 7th grade and he came home and said, how did I get in these honors classes? Did you put me in those honors classes? And I said, you earned your way in there. You tested into those classes. And he said, because I'm not feeling so smart right now. And I knew that it had something to do with the fact that his teacher only gave them multiple choice tests, like projects, anything else where he could really show his true intelligence
Mm-hmm.
was not there. And we would study and prepare, but the questions were so very tricky. It was almost like I want to trip you up. It was a very discouraging experience. And so I had to constantly remind him, I mean, don't let anybody fool you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to struggle. You may still struggle, but you're still smart. So, you just still make sure that academics are your focus and you do your
Right.
best. Yes.
And that rigor isn't the gatekeeper. You know, it's important to provide rigor, but like you said, rigor means that we are utilizing all of their intelligence. Not just anybody can guess right answers and multiple choice, but we've got to make sure that we provide a multitude of ways for them to show who they are, what they know. You go ahead, Dr. Crawford.
Yes, tell us about Mr. Christian.
Oh my gosh! But just to piggyback off of what Angela was saying, I think exposure is the key, and that's what I try to do with my son, and particularly with our children of color, our sons of color, our Black boys. Mirror exposure to mirror images of us, to see other people of color who are succeeding academically, and not just, and nothing is wrong if you get that sports scholarship, nothing is wrong with that, but everybody with such as that one in there is not is not sports inclined, I guess you should say. It's not, and it's okay that isn't like that. Just to share and talking about in education, I shared the other night on Instagram Live with my students. We are working on a project, business project. So, I'm all into that. Talking about our unit is on needs, wants, goods, services. So what I have them doing is they're kidpreneurs, and we're having a mini kid Shark Tank. Shark Tank. So they had to come up with pitches, and I gave them guiding questions to help them with their pitches. But in doing that, in that preparation, I also showed them pictures of children of color, because all of my students are people of color. I showed them images of other brown children who were successful in businesses, and I shared with Mose Bowes, started at the age of was 9 or 13, and now look at what he's doing. There's another one, his name is escaping me right now, started a technology company at 13, 15, somewhere between there. His business, he's 19, and his business is now worth $3.5 million.
Wow.
So that kind of got the ball rolling for them. And not just some of what we've known, and just to be truthful, some of the typical things that we may be people of color known for, because we are so creative and we are so talented as a people. You don't have to box yourself in with just one little, I'm just an athlete, or I'm just going to do this, or we just do this, There are things that we can do. Yes, we're great cooks, but we can own our own restaurants beyond that. We can have our own franchise of restaurants. Beyond that. We hair salon. Yes, we may do hair and love to do hair, but we can have a franchise of salons, or we could be we're not contained in a box. And I think that's important for them to have that exposure of mirror images and to show outside of what they normally see or we're known to be.
Right.
Exactly. So activities like the one I witnessed on this past Saturday, it was an activity that Building Beyond the Walls had online. It was a virtual experience for the young men who are being mentored, and it's called the Mindset Moment. And so different successful educators or men in our community have come in and spent time talking about virtues or attributes that our young men hopefully are aspiring toward. For example, this past Saturday, it dealt with perseverance. And that was just extremely powerful. And keeping role models in front of you who will tell you it's okay to be smart. Make sure that you do your best to stay smart. So, just watching who our children's friends are and just trying to in circles where they are, just trying to do the right thing, because it's not always easy to choose the books over the party or the books over the sports and that type thing. So that's just something that we want to encourage other mothers And in our book, we talk about some of the schedules and the routines of the mothers and the sons that happened basically so that the mothers could help propel their sons into the futures that some of them are experiencing now. So I talked with my son and I asked him, I said, well, will you come on tonight and just give us, you're 24 now, so you have a little wisdom as far as what you've gone through. And I said, what will you come on? Will you come on and talk? And he said, no, I don't think I want to come on the camera, but I just would say to them, just keep academics at the forefront. And I said, well, anything else? He was like, no, just keep the books, keep the academics at the forefront. I said, well, I will make sure I pass that along because there may be some young man out there who just really needs to hear that. And I know it's difficult in this day and time with everything that's going on. It's hard to stay focused because you have the news dropping every few minutes how many new COVID cases we have, how many new deaths we have. You can't see your friends the way you want to. A lot of us are feeling anxiety because we're not going to be with the family over the holidays.
Right.
And there's so much. It's like it just sounds simple that you're at home, you're on your computer, you do your work, but your mind may very well be somewhere else. It's hard, but stay focused. It will pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So we've spoken a good bit on that topic. Another topic I wanted to bring up tonight is, and I've talked with some other educators, and one day we'd like to do a book or an anthology on this, raising children as a teacher or an assistant principal or a principal or a district administrator or even a superintendent. And you have to make that decision. Will your child go to school with you? Will your child attend school in the same district that you're in? Or will you have that struggle of trying to manage what they're doing, manage where you are? But then at the same time, your child tends to somewhat live in a fishbowl and there's scrutiny, and it's a lot more pressure on children of parents who are educators. But at the same time, Angela is a reverend and her husband is a reverend. And then my son, his father is a minister, his stepfather is a minister, and his stepmother is a minister. So bless his heart. I mean, he's a pre-K, pre-9. So what do you do with that? Like what kind of pressure is that? And he was in the district where I served. When he graduated, I was an assistant superintendent in that district. So he's had a lot of pressure in his life. So I will start with Latressa and just ask, how have you managed that? And what do you say to other parents in that situation? Other parents and children as well.
I need to sip off of that one because
That's a loaded question.
Right. Yes. My son, and I love him dearly. When he was a firecracker, he still is a half of a firecracker. So he most definitely had to go to school with me. Not even in the same district. I need you there. so as I can lay hands. But it is pressure. And it's not only pressure. My son, particularly at that time, he was really like, he take you, leave it. He's going to tell you just as it is. Everything kind of rolls off of his back. And he had no problems with being himself. Now, that's one thing I think he amplified that being himself. But it really put, I think, a lot of pressure on myself as well. Mm-hmm. With that, because we did, by him being active as he was, there were times I had to go to the classroom or the teacher brought him to me. And even when I remember this time in particular, I moved here to Georgia, have no family here, no friends. And so the persons at the school, some of the teachers really became my support system, and they're still my support system. One who happens to be a soror is still my support system. And they would try to go and see about him, as you could say, check in and pop in on him to help with that. But it did bring about some pressures with him so much so in one class that I had to move him because I think the expectations of I am who I am and he is who he is, and you have to recognize that. And I'm trying to work with you on that, but her expectations of he should be like, oh. Now, I told you from day one, I gave that warning, heads up, but it's a lot of pressure. I do try to work with them. I try to let them know, the teachers, and just be honest with them. He is who he is. And I'm willing to work with you on his personality and so forth. Being a teacher, I understand. So let's collaborate and work together. But don't have those expectations of he's just going to be
right.
That halo around his head. It's not going to come like that. So I don't know. I almost still feel like that, and he's in college.
But you're right. It is a lot of pressure. It really is. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and unknowingly, sometimes we put extra pressure on our children because I know my son had one incident in high school, and he couldn't stop apologizing to me. He said, "Mom, I just think that I didn't make you look good," and I'm like, "I'm not worried about how I look. You know, you are a child like all of the other 2,000, well, actually, 12,000 in the district. And I see the mistakes that children make all day, every day. It's okay. And to think that you could go from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade and never, ever, it's just not possible. Did I not? I mean, I had issues as well. It's a part of growing. And those are where your brain is still developing. So we have to give our children space to fall, bump their heads, and get back up again.
Oh, I think that is wonderful that he came and apologized because Chris was like, I have no regrets. I'm going to live my life. And he still says the same.
That's awesome. Well, Angela, what's your perspective on it?
Well, I am going to say, it's interesting that you talked about yourself, because it wasn't until I took on the mindset that these are my little people. I am going to advocate for them and guard them, with every fiber of my being. It took all of the pressure off because I realized, especially as a pastor's wife, that the overreach is real. The hidden set of expectations is real. But that can be hard, because I have had the pleasure of being friends with PKs, so I sat and talked with them. Just to find out what is it like, what are the pressures, and going to seminary at the ITC, just being able to sit at the feet of some, profound professors and listening to them have regrets about spending time watching sister so-and-so's son play baseball and taking them this place and that place. And, those stories that I had with the times I had with the PKs and the times that I listened to my professors, they all, coincided, and it all meant that someone wasn't getting their parent. There was a child going without. And, Sonia, you guys hear me say this a lot. The village approach is so necessary. But in the case of these two little right boys, Mama Bear is real serious. So I will say that I've had a couple of incidents where I have had to kind of take my hat off, and everyone feels like they know me, and I'm so quiet and I'm so mild-mannered, but not when it comes to the two of them, because I have to be their biggest advocate. I don't get an opportunity to do this again. They're looking at me and their dad, but as the educator, my husband kind of, pulls back sometimes, and he literally does have to kind of sit there with me, tapping me on my knee, Ange, because I've said in meetings before, conferences where I've had a teacher blatantly say to me, these scores must be inflated. It's not possible for your son to have scored as high as he did. And, it took everything in me not to flip the table and act up.
I know
As
it.
an administrator in North Carolina, I took our oldest to kindergarten. He was in kindergarten there. And Sonia, I've told you this story. I won't say all the details, but it was a really rural school. I was their first African American assistant principal. Um, and so I'll let you all figure out a whole lot of other things, but I will say this. By Christmas, William was at our neighborhood school because the overreach, the expectations, I needed to hear more than, the fact that he wore nice clothes and his teeth were pretty and white. I needed to know more about what he was doing academically. I wanted to, because long before they could read or write or I could hold them, I was reading to them. I was playing classical music. I know all of it. We did all of those things. And so I'm not about to let, the 9 to 10 months that you're with this one particular person mess that up. I'm not willing to do that. That's why I said I'm always so intentional about who's in front of them. The environments that I put them in. I have been blessed enough to be able to handpick a lot of their teachers.
That's great.
And we've had some amazing teachers. My youngest is a sixth grader now. He's in all accelerated classes. The oldest is in honors. And I'm saying all of that to say it's hard, and it's been hard. And they will look back at me and, sometimes even now, because we're strictly at home, we're doing everything, virtually, but why? Why am I having to read this book? My teacher didn't say I had to read this book. Why am I having, because when I was growing up, I was told that you have to be better. You got to know more. You got to work harder. That's something that I continue to instill in my own. I have a nephew, and you all know Thomas Jones. He is my, I like to say, my older sister allowed me to kind of trial parent him when he was a baby. He would come to Atlanta when we lived there, Latressa, and spend his summers with us. And Thomas is a really smart young man. People know him because he's a great athlete. But like you said, he knew from a very early age, as his sister did, Brittany. Brittany's extremely smart. They knew that you can do this, but you got to get your work done. There are no exceptions. School is the one place where you got to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, or mama or somebody. More than likely, mama is coming up there. We're going to help get you straight. And it's not necessarily, spankings or anything like that. But again, we know the work that we've done at home. And I'm not willing to allow anyone to take that from them or tell them who they think they are, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Makes lots of sense.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
in front of potential problems and issues by, and that's a blessing when you can choose your teachers, because you want them, regardless as to what your son looks like, what his complexion is, what he wears, to realize that it's the mind that he or she is there to prepare and to train. Everything else, pretty much goes out of the window. And someone who, like we said, leave out all of the, whatever the look is, and cultivate the brain. That's the whole purpose. And to not pinpoint, if, for example, he decides one day to tap his pencil on the desk, yet, everybody else has done it too, but it's, it's always him that's doing something, experiences too. So I'm sure we could go on and on and on, because this is such a great topic and there's so much to be said about it. And I know we all have tons of stories, but the point is that we have to keep those academics in the front and encourage other mothers and sons to just remember that is how you really, will determine, or your success in life will be determined. That has to be foremost. I'd
Right.
like to pause just for a minute to say I'm very happy that we have Karen Neely and Cheryl Pulley in our audience. Thank you for joining us. I highlight them because I know we have some other guests too. For example, Latriva's watching. Treva Bates, thank you for joining us. But and anyone else who's out there as well. Brundridge, we appreciate your being here. I would like to go ahead and read the names of all of our contributors. Of course, I'm here, Leverett, and then Angela Wright and Latressa Crawford is with me tonight. We had some of our authors on last Monday, but
Mhm.
other contributors are Tanya Woods. She was with us last week. Sabrina Thomas, Cheryl Pulley again, who's watching, Tony Renee Smith, Tammy White Richardson, Yashika Lee, Reverend Suzette Pearson Adams, Reverend Dr. Edwina Perrin, who was with us last week, Jan Barker, Sandra Leverett, Karen Neely, who's here with us tonight, Latressa Crawford, who contributed a couple of stories, and you have to get the book so that you can read her poem. It's entitled Hey Black Man. And we may give you just a little tiny preview of it at our launch, which again will be on November 28th. We're going to kick it off at 11, I'm sorry, at 10 o'clock that morning. It is Small Business Saturday. And so we are praying that you will support us so that we can continue supporting our young men and support our young men who are coming up the ranks right now, who are a part of the organization Building Beyond the Walls. So great conversation. One other thing I'd like to discuss tonight is how do we keep our sons encouraged and motivated? How do we bring out the best in them without being cast aside as just a nagging mother that they're just tired of hearing? That question came up at the end of our session on Saturday, and it was asked of the young men.
Mhm.
What's your response, Latressa? How would you say that you stay in his good graces? I mean, as mothers, they should do and respect whatever we say because we do, but we know in this world, it's just not that way all the time. They're not just going to do it or buy into it. They don't even see the importance of it because of their age and immaturity sometimes. So I've asked that question, and without further prolonging it, what's your response in regard to that?
Um, yes, I am, as I've said before, I am big on communicating with my son.
Mhm.
So I am, he's a little tough cookie. I have to get a little handle on him, but whenever I do have to get that handle to reel him in, I make sure that he understands why I'm doing it and why and sometimes I say, you may see it as being hard on you, but it is because. And then I try to give him some of my life experiences
Yeah.
that has taken place and why the importance of it, so he can correlate the two. And when he was younger, I did the same things. Like you may not understand now, but you will. And so now in college, some of the little tidbits that I have been giving him, he says, "Oh, you remember when you said so and so and so? I see that with this, so it talks about somebody else and this and that." As a matter of fact, I had to reel him in just this past week. And so I still said the same thing to him. I want you to understand I'm hard on you for more than one reason. One, he's an only child. So, and I had the conversation, when I'm gone, I want to make sure that you know that I have instilled in you all those things to be successful, and what I mean by successful, a lot of people think when you say successful, it means money. It doesn't always
Right.
have to do with
Right.
money. Success doesn't always have to do with money. But I want you to be able to be independent, self-sufficient without without me. And so that's why I am doing A, B, C, D, or X, Y,
Mhm.
Z. Sometimes I start with the Greek alphabet. Depends on what depends on what it is. I have to start with the Greek alphabet. But I think that communication, and though they may not understand when you're younger, just continue. I feel as though continuing to impart that to them. I'm doing this because, and I still love you. And I shared with Sonia that we never go to bed without saying, I love you. You know, no matter if I'm mad and I could barely do, he really had me upset the other week. I was so mad I couldn't talk. But I picked up my phone and said, but I still love you.
Yeah.
And I let him know there's nothing that we can't get through together.
Amen.
So, but I'm still mad.
All right.
But I couple that with love, and I think that's the key, to couple it with love. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I totally agree with Latressa. For me, it was extremely important to recognize that they were two different individuals. My oldest is not a walk in the park by any means. He, I think, prides himself sometimes on giving me a run for my money, but that's okay because I'm up for it. I'm up for the task. But I call the youngest, who most people think is calm and quiet and sweet. They think he's like me, and he is like me because he has a little Hulk in him. Don't get on the other side. Yeah, but so that's relationship is key. Relationship is key. I am the corny, goofy, laser running through the house, diving over the couch, some nights mom. I know Sonia's raising her eyes like, rip. Yeah. I do have those moments. We read together. I mean, we do a lot of things together. And it's always surprising to me because it's at night when everything is quiet that I get the truth. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, this happened in school because, or Mama, why did you say? And just being transparent enough to talk with them about it and saying to them and explaining, I'm this way with you because I don't want, just like Latressa was saying, I don't want this to happen, but ultimately, and this came from one of the mentors, one of the mindset moment speakers, I should say, don't allow my fear to parent, or don't parent out of fear. And I thought, wow, and I knew exactly what he was talking about, I can't control how other people are going to respond and react and treat him. Mm-hmm. All I need to do is make sure I'm that soft place to land and continue to fill him up when he comes back to me. Either one of them, that was profound. And so that helped me not even see it as nagging, but I was the mom who asked that question Saturday about persevering, because they have been cooped up. We all have cabin fever. But like William was saying, he made a point of shouting out his mentor Saturday, and he said how I made it Halloween special because he said square sandwiches, and I'm still chuckling about that. But those little finger sandwiches, and it was really nothing. Cocktail. My sister got candy apples, but these are the times that we won't get back. And instead of looking at it like, we're cooped up in the house together. Yeah, we're cooped up in the house together, and we're going to make the best of this thing. We're going to ride this out together. And that's what we've been doing, making every single moment important. Yes, we go to the park. William and I take our special rides. Caleb and I take our special rides where we talk. I play the music loud. I embarrass them because if Dougie Fresh comes on, I'm rapping just as hard. They're like, will you stop? But it's in those moments that I get to redeem myself, for saying, if you bring home another such and such grade, or if you don't, go this time without doing your homework, I'm going to choke you. It's a balance. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that I don't sometimes say the same thing over and over. And because, again, both of my sons are middle schoolers. Mm-hmm. You and I both know that developmentally, this is where, you're having to repeat things repeatedly. And you can't give multi-stepped directions because we're gonna forget it halfway. What you say, dude? I mean, but
I think that goes to high school too, and up in college. I'm still, I'm still. Did I just say? And that
right,
was today.
right, right. But again, it's just important to keep a good relationship with them. We get mad, we I get disappointed, but at the end of it all, I'm their mom. They know I love them. I shoot the spider webs, the I love you signs, all that corny stuff. I'm down for it because, you know, they are I prayed for them. That's the title of my story in the anthology. I prayed for them. I prayed long and hard, that God would bless me with them. And so, like I said, I'm riding this thing until the wheels fall off.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And I am going to put a little peg in it right there to say that, you know, if we are blessed to have a son or a daughter or a child, period, you know, and I hope that there's no one who takes that lightly or takes that for granted, because that doesn't just happen, just because we're a female and we're supposed to have, things in place and whatnot. It may not be just that simple,
Right.
So we have stories of, issues with fertility. We have one of our sons who was adopted. We have one son who just basically kind of showed up after the mother had had a loss. And so he's our rainbow baby. And
Hmm.
we have one mother who was a teenage mother. And so things happen. So our sons may have come to us in different ways, but we throw all of that out of the window. At the end of the day, we're just grateful and
Right.
we love them and just try to help make them the very, very best men that they can be. So again, our experiences are extremely diverse. Even though many of us are educators, a number of us are deltas, our stories are different. It's amazing though how we share in such different ways, and the stories that we chose to share are so diverse. But at the end of the day, there's that one thing that we all come back to, and you can see, you can feel, you can smell, you can taste the love between the mother and the son. And there are quotes to explain that you can't explain it. There's no way this anthology could be 1,000, a million, a billion pages long, and it still wouldn't really explain to you what it feels like to parent a son. And so we're just giving you a tidbit of what that feels like or tastes like. And we just hope that you will support this project that we've put a good bit of work into. And
Yes.
again, we're launching on November 28th at 10 o'clock right here on Facebook Live. You can follow us on this page, Hadassah's Crown Publishing. You can follow us on Hadassah's Crown Publishing on Instagram, and also on our website, hadassahscrownpublishing.com, as well as all of the social media for Building Beyond the Walls.
Mhm.
All of our authors, the ones you see tonight and those I've named, those who have social media platforms, they are posting. You can cash out them, support them, purchase a book, and you know take time, give a gift to someone else, support this great project, because it is giving back to young males who are coming up through the ranks and who are devoting Saturdays when they could be doing so many other things. They've been looking at the computer all week long, and here they are again on their Saturdays trying to get some wisdom. And so we're trying to bless them and continue pouring into that. So we are so grateful that you have been here tonight. And Karen, we appreciate your comments. LOL when we had that one conversation. And yes and amen. Thank you, because when these mothers get together, there's just so much that we can share that we can really, really relate to. And our overall goal is to build them up, and just to encourage them, to strengthen them, because they're going into a world that's not going to feel about them the way we do. And I'm not
Right.
saying the mean, hardcore people that are out there, nobody's going to feel the way we do about our sons.
Right.
And there's this one quote that I really love, and it says that it's not our job to prepare our sons for this mean, mean world, but our job is to prepare our sons to make the world kinder and a better place, so that it's not the mean, mean world. And I think you'll see that reflected in the stories that we share. So as we close, there's time. Angela, would you like to do any type of commercial or any type of information about your organization? And the same thing for you, LaTressa. You can do the very same thing.
Well, I love talking about building beyond the walls, but I'm going to definitely use this as an opportunity to make a plea. If you love children, don't do it just because we're asking, but if you genuinely love being around children, young men and young women, we would love to have you serve as a mentor. Um, we would love to have you if you are have some knowledge of STEAM or financial literacy or self-sustainability, um, the benefits of being a scholar. Those are some of our mindset moment topics. If you have any desire to impact the future, because that's what our young people are, you know, they are definitely our future. And this is a impressionable time, third through ninth grade, where you can catch them and talk to them about who they are culturally, you know, and increase cultural awareness. Talk to them about George Washington Carver, you know, pour into them about our own Mr. Cunningham, who treaded waters right there in Lawrence County doing things. We are so wealthy with information about others, but we've got people right in our community. That's the other thing that the three of us have in common. We are all from this big town, Lawrence, South Carolina. Yeah, where we were loved and nurtured by some of the finest people in that you ever want to meet in this world. Wouldn't trade my upbringing, my childhood for anything in this world. And so, yeah, mentor, speakers, we are always accepting donations. There's never a donation too small. And you can do all these things, you know, connect with us on buildingbeyondthewalls.com or info@buildingbeyondthewalls.com. Or if you'd like to give me a call, you can do that by calling 803-814-3399.
Say that one more time. I'm going to put it in the chat. 803
814-3399.
All right, there it is. All right, LaTressa.
Okay. I am, once again, LaTressa A. Crawford. Thank you all for joining in today. I am the founder and CEO of LaTressa A. Crawford Enterprises, where there are a multifaceted of things that it encompasses. One of the things, I am an author. I have the book, Finding Joy in Everyday Life. It can be found on Amazon, my website, which is thereallatressa.me, not .org, not .com, but .me. So you can order the book there, and you will receive it. Ordering it from the website, you will receive an autographed copy, and you might receive another little token too. You know, I love to give.
So tell us the website again. I'm going to put that in the chat. I'm sorry.
Is thereallatressa.me.
All right, got it.
Also, I am a life coach. I work with stress management, mental clarity, goal setting, and goal attainment. I'm also an executive life coach as well. I do speaking also. So, yes, please connect with me on my page, LaTressa A. Crawford, or you may see hashtag The Real LaTressa.
Awesome. Well, I feel so very blessed to work with these ladies. I mean, we go way back. And I talked about our commonalities because I'm excited. It's my Deltaversary. So just didn't even think about the fact that we're all from Lawrence. And so I'm very grateful because, all right. And a number of our authors are from Lawrence. But we have authors from McCormick and from a couple from Anderson. We have one who lives in Maryland at this time, Lexington and Columbia. And so we're pretty spread out. So again, Atlanta as well, two in Atlanta. But we are, again, diverse. But again, at the end of the day, we love our sons. So thank you again for joining us tonight. We hope you've made a note. You're saving the date for our launch. And we hope that you will support us. And our book after the launch will be available, or the day of the launch will be available on Amazon. But we hope that you will support one of our authors by purchasing the book from them. And thank you again for joining us. It has been a pleasure spending this hour with you. We hope that we were able to, drop some nuggets of from our experience, just from our hearts, something that we've shared that may be able to help you or somebody else that you might know. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you on November 28th. We hope that you'll have wonderful holidays. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, regardless as to how you spend it. The thought is that we're thankful. And really, this is a great opportunity to bless someone else who may not have food, who may have lost a job. And so think about blessing a food pantry or a church or some place that's giving food out this year, because it's not about us. It's about service, the service that we can do for others. So I encourage you to think about that, pray about that, and let's just continue trying to make this world that we live in a better place. So with that, we'd like to say thank you again to our guests, and everyone have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye bye.